Ladies and gentlemen,
What you gonna do, brother?
oh yeah!
Woo! What? What?
If you smell what the rock,
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
Welcome to another edition of Around the Turnbuckle. My name is the Big Albowski, and my co-host is Professor Keith. And conspicuous by her absence, Professor, is one Rebecca Payne.
That's true, but I mean, come on. When you say it like that, you make it sound like, oh, she just, didn't have a great reason. And she did have a great reason for not being here today. And also, too, I would suggest that this is a case of something that is lost in the art of wrestling these days.
Yes.
And that is anticipation. That you don't always get what you want right when you want it. You see, Rebecca Payne has kind of become our white whale.
She is.
To a degree. We're chasing her down.
We are.
To get her on this show.
Yeah.
And the audience is anticipating that chase. Finally, one day, we're going to get her on this show. And therefore, anything that she says or we say is going to be that much better.
Hi, Courtney.
You know what I mean? Hi, Courtney. Not like, but again, how do I know what I'm talking about? I mean, on Raw, we're going to get that super built up match of Drew McIntyre, the WWE champion, versus, that longtime Raw alumnus, Keith Lee. I mean, that's had at least, 2 fucking weeks on it? God.
Right. All right.
I know it's not the topic of the show, but I just wanted to blow that out.
Let me explain something. All right, let me explain something to everybody watching. We were supposed to have Rebecca Payne on tonight. She is rescheduled for another night. The night tonight, she had a family emergency, could not be helped. I talked to her on the phone. She is very upset for not being with us tonight. But she will be on at a later date. I promise everybody who was tuning in to see Rebecca Payne tonight, she will be on another date. On another note,
anticipate her coming.
On another note, we were also going to talk about and open up this show with a video sent to us by her friend Kim and her son Valentino, and I hope you guys are watching because they are having a special event, as you can see scrolling on the bottom of our screen. There is a special event for Val down in Ocean Gate, New Jersey on Saturday, October 3rd. Tickets are on sale for Val's Pals Go to War, featuring, Keith, Brian Cage from the AEW.
I'm excited about that because, normally I'm the guy, and I know everybody, at least our friends, know this. I think Hi, Chrissy. I think some people Jackie, some people in our orbit are starting to realize, like, the professor's kind of the guy that if there's a negative to be found, he finds it. But, hi, Victor. But Brian Cage is a guy that, he's really impressed me. He looks like $1 million. He can go.
Yes.
I'm big on Brian Cage.
Yes.
Yeah, I know he's had some issues with injuries, but are not to the point that you would say, this is a guy that should get the injury-prone tag. I'm a proponent of Brian Cage. I really am.
I'm going to put this up real quick, Keith, before we continue. If you guys can see this, and I hope you guys can see this poster at home, this is all the information you need for Val's Pals. I couldn't get it any bigger than this, but I am going to, at the end of the show, I am going to put up the numbers that are on there at the bottom. That is a picture of Val in the middle, Brian Cage behind him, and Austin from Impact. Who's that? Austin? What's his name? I forget.
Oh, you told me this earlier.
I know.
How dare you not do your research?
I know. He will be there as well as many others from CCW and many other places, and we will put all that information up later on at the end of the show. We're going to put up all the information to get for the phone numbers you need for tickets for that event. I am going to leave that ticker on the bottom the entire show. Val's Pals Go to War featuring Brian Cage and Ace Austin of Impact. Saturday, October 3rd at the Willis Jones Memorial First Aid Park in Ocean Gate, New Jersey. Now, that ticker will be on for the entire show. Now, you already got a question. Something from AEW impressive.
Nephew, for the love of God, have I not sat there and tried to be a defender of AEW? Also, they have FTR. I love FTR. We all know I love FTR.
Who doesn't love FTR?
Just because I only like one out of, the 50 executive vice presidents does not mean I hate AEW.
One more item of business, Keith, that I want to do is, and it's not coming up, so it changed tickers on me. I got you. Never mind. Never mind. We went off the rails there. If you guys like our show, please go to my fan page, go to our fan page, Around the Turnbuckle on the fan page, like the fan page. Also join our Around the Turnbuckle group. We have wrestling discussions there daily. I post all kinds of wrestling tidbits, old Attitude Era stuff, a lot of Rock stuff, a lot of Stone Cold, a lot of Undertaker. Speaking of Undertaker,
oh God,
leads me to my first topic, sir. Recently, Paul Heyman did a sit-down with fans that's been floating around the internet, gone viral, so to speak, where he kind of let a small cat out of the bag. And I know you're going to say it's Paul Heyman being Paul Heyman, but let's talk about it a little bit. The Undertaker lost his streak. He stood at 21-0 going into WrestleMania 30 versus Brock Lesnar. And to the shock
on pay-per-view.
And to the shock of mostly everyone.
No, I think it was everyone. I think it was absolutely everyone at that point. Nobody I talked to that night thought that was going to be the case. We were actually on a delay because that was back in the day when the network, didn't work so great. So depending on your device, somebody could get like a couple seconds, couple minutes, whatever ahead of you. And I had somebody texting me and going, "Oh, Brock Lesnar just beat the streak." And my reaction was, "Why are people trolling me? Why are people trying to talk to me?"
You didn't believe it at all?
No. Because at that point, I was like, all right, if you didn't let CM Punk beat him, you've got him in there with Brock Lesnar, a guy with limited dates, limited appeal, not limited appeal. That's the wrong wording for it, but not a guy that you're going to be able to, in my opinion, maximize that kind of a win out of. Why would you give it to him? It made no sense. So my reaction was just, all right, why are my friends trying to fuck with me? And then 2 minutes later, I'm like, oh.
Exactly. So he loses the match. As many of us know from watching the Last Ride documentary, he also collapsed behind the curtain.
Right. Taker was concussed. That is pretty well known that Taker was concussed at some point during the match, severely concussed. And that explains why, you get to a point where Taker doesn't seem like Taker during that match.
Exactly. Now, Paul Heyman, in a recent sit-down with WWE Universe, was answering questions, and one of the fans asked him what was the creative process going into that match. Like, was there a meeting? Did everybody talk about it? What was the creative process? They were trying to dig, right? They were trying to get him to admit that, yeah. Before that, Vince McMahon sat down with The Undertaker, sat down with Brock Lesnar, sat down with Paul Heyman and said, yeah, the streak ends tonight. Heyman offered an answer to that, saying, what if I were to tell you that the streak wasn't supposed to end? What if I were to tell you that Brock Lesnar decided to end the streak on his own? And what if he was also to tell you that Brock Lesnar basically said, what are they going to do? Fire the guy that just beat the streak?
So there's a lot to unpack in that.
Go ahead.
So let's unpack what the streak is and what the streak isn't. Yeah. First of all, the streak was not a plan.
Correct.
The streak was not a master plan from Jimmy Snuka through CM Punk, where WWE said, hey, we're going to create this new attraction for WrestleMania where this character is going to be undefeated for X amount of time, and it's going to give us like another championship match or something beyond a championship match at Mania. It was an accident. It was a case of Vince always believing in the Undertaker character and knowing the potential of the Undertaker character and the potential of Mark Calloway to carry that character off. And then somebody looking around when he was like 10 or 11-0 and going, holy crap, do you know the Undertaker's never lost at WrestleMania? Wait, really? How high is that number? And then quoting that number. And then again, and I give Vince credit. It's a smart thing of saying, well, goddamn, pal, let's start promoting that. So that is where the streak stands. But at that point, yes, the streak becomes a plan. The streak becomes a feature. The streak becomes the streak.
Yes.
So let's talk about Paul Heyman, too. And I love Paul Heyman. I have a lot of respect for Paul Heyman. Yeah. I'm a giant ECW fan. Everybody knows that. I still am to this day. You know, I still have my old email that I created like a month or so after it was very clear ECW was done.
Right.
You know, I'm a fan. So one of the things I love about Paul so much is that Paul is a great marketer. And Paul's won awards for how much of a marketer he is. And if you doubt, well, why would Paul Heyman get an award for marketing? But go back and think about ECW and what ECW was. It was a tiny promotion in Philadelphia, running out of a bingo hall, running out of smaller arenas across the country. And that's the thing.
Shooting the promos in Paul Heyman's mother's basement.
Right, editing the show in his parents' basement.
Yeah.
Mostly funded with his parents' money once Todd Gordon was gone.
Alan says, you know, I heard they originally planned for Goldberg to end the streak, but Brock took it into his own hands. Just a rumor.
Your son's going to get himself banned. What's going to happen pretty soon.
If any more of his comments come up, I do have the power not to show them to you if that's what you wish.
It may happen if I'm in the middle of something serious and trying to analyze something and he trolls me. So,
right.
think about what Paul did. He took something, when he took over as ECW booker, it was nothing more than the regional Philadelphia promotion. And by the time it ended its run in 2001, you have an entity that is on pay-per-view that is regarded as within striking distance of WCW, and it outdrew WCW on some of its shows. You know, I know certain people like, you know, Eric Bischoff don't want to admit to that.
Goldberg. That's another Goldberg.
And I mean, if he still had the streak, Anthony, that would have been great.
Right.
That would have been a natural.
The trolls are lining up. AJ's another troll.
Yeah, but you know, that would have been a natural if he'd still had the streak at that point.
Right. If Goldberg came to WWE,
oh sure, like you gave him 5 or 10 jobber matches or whatever. You know, you built him up for a couple months. He said, "Hey, he's never been beaten here,
right?"
And Taker's never been beaten at Mania, so he's gonna. Yeah, I mean, it's elementary.
Then you would have had a match,
right? Absolutely, that's elementary.
Not that bullshit in Saudi Arabia.
No, I don't even want to touch.
No. Don't get off the rail. Keep the train roll. Keep the train rolling.
Right. So I mean, Paul Heyman as a marketer, I think rivals Vince McMahon in the wrestling business. Not maybe to the same degree, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say when you talk about innovative people that are still involved in it, Paul Heyman and Vince McMahon. And I think that's why Vince keeps bringing Paul back. Because Vince sees that bit of himself.
That's right, AJ. That is
very
That is
true.
the truth.
That is the truth.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's why Vince keeps bringing Paul back, because Paul has that aspect and Vince sees that aspect in himself. So with that said, Paul is also a guy that I think doesn't always see the line between work and shoot. Jim Cornette's talked about, and I know people are going to go, oh, you're invoking Jim Cornette again. Shut up. It's relevant.
We got a heel turn Harry.
You're fake news. You're fake news.
It's your fake news.
So, although he might actually be agreeing with me for once, so maybe I shouldn't be shitting on him. We'll
Triple H should have ended the streak.
No.
I don't. Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I don't. I love Triple H. Believe me, I do.
Yeah. No. All right, so I'm off the rails again.
You're off the rails. Like
I am. Okay, so let me go back to, again, how Paul's...
Stop sucking on Paul Heyman's boobs and tell me what you really feel.
I think Paul is a legendary shit disturber. I think Paul has, right now, considering he's been relieved of any creative duties or anything like that.
Yeah, now he's basically Roman Reigns' mouthpiece.
Right. Paul knows where his bread is buttered, and Paul knows that Brock Lesnar is a relationship that he has cultivated, that as long as Brock Lesnar is alive and able to do
with the conviction that it means Brock Lesnar. But go ahead.
As long as he's alive and he's able to do something in combat sports, Paul has a foot in the door wherever Brock Lesnar is.
Right.
Because Brock Lesnar understands the value of having a Paul Heyman, which is to Brock's credit. It is absolutely to Brock's credit. You have an award-winning marketer there that is willing to commit to your brand.
That's another show, AJ, right there.
I think it is. Yeah. I mean, it's a good point. It's certainly something worth debating.
I always thought it should have been Kane.
No. Stop.
No.
It was almost Wade Barrett. I can say that. I know there were meetings about that.
Funny, right? It was almost CM Punk, too, wasn't it always almost CM Punk?
I think people thought that, but I don't know that there was ever a serious meeting about that. I'll tell you what, though. I know they're fucking glad they didn't do it.
Like, he wanted a title match at the end. He wanted a main event Mania, and they switched it to Rock and Cena. And his constellation prize was, well, you get to take on the Undertaker.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure they're glad they didn't end the streak that way. Hi, girls. I'm sure they didn't. They're happy they didn't end it that way, because a year later you would have had the guy that ended the streak walk out of the company. I mean, yeah, you can get a lot of, jobs out of somebody in a year, but I don't think at that point they would have looked at CM Punk as get as much as you could before he goes.
Right.
Because he very abruptly went.
Yes.
But I mean, just again, back on topic. That's the thing about this topic, is that there's so many things that spin off of it. I mean, we're almost 10 years later, and we're still debating it.
Because they're shocked about it. I mean, people are.
It also tells you the importance of the
event.
We're
also debating it because Paul Heyman ran his mouth and it's gone viral. It's all over the internet. He said it's worthy of a conspiracy theory that the streak wasn't meant to end, that Brock Lesnar did it himself. Yeah. I want to know from you, do you think it's bullshit? Is it just Heyman being Heyman? Or is there some validity? Maybe.
Do I think Brock Lesnar walked into WrestleMania cold, that the bell rang and he said, fuck it, I'm going to shoot? No, I don't. Because yes, we have had double crosses in wrestling. We've had the famous double crosses like Montreal.
We're getting there, AJ. We're getting there. As soon as
Yeah,
as soon as we're done with Brock Lesnar, I'll freaking tell you who we think we should have ended the streak.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't believe Brock went in there to shoot because there are so many different ramifications for letting a guy go in there and shoot.
Okay.
And to shoot with your top guy. And the Undertaker was the tippity-toppest guy. I would argue in some ways that the Undertaker is maybe the most top guy that WWE ever had because of the reliability factor, because of everything he could do. So to let Brock Lesnar go in there and shoot, and yes, I get what Heyman's saying, is that, well, he beat the streak, you're not going to fire him the next day. No, you're not going to fire him the next day. But you know what the fuck you're going to do is the next few dates that he has, he's going to job.
Right.
And you're going to put him in there with guys that you know can overwhelm him.
Yes.
Okay, because WWE had an issue, in fact, similar to this.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, the Honky Tonk Man would politic and bullshit and make threats about the Intercontinental title because Honky knew the minute he lost the Intercontinental title, his days were numbered. So there's, I know Honky will deny it. Fine, buddy, go ahead and deny it. There's enough people saying the other way that I feel comfortable going on this show and saying your version is a lie.
He's the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time.
That's a lie, but okay. So he knew his days were numbered. So Honky would politic to not lose the Intercontinental title. And you should actually be very happy about that because that's how your boy Randy Savage got his first WWF title win.
No. Randy Savage got,
that's exactly what happened.
No. Randy Savage got the WWF title because he earned it.
No, Randy Savage got the WWF title because originally Ted DiBiase was going to get the WWF title.
I heard that story. It's just a rumor. These are rumors and lies.
Rumors and lies. Okay.
The man wrestled 4 times in one night. Okay. Ted DiBiase had a bye because 2 guys got disqualified. He double disqualification. So basically, Ted DiBiase had to wrestle 3 times, and he had Andre the Giant in the corner.
And we've never ever seen a tournament situation where a heel got a bye and won a championship.
I didn't say that.
I didn't sit in Philadelphia and watch Mabel become King of the Ring, and I sat in the nosebleeds.
Aren't we talking about The Undertaker?
We are, and then we're getting off on tangents. Okay, let's go back.
Yeah.
So I think what would have happened is similar to when they got the Intercontinental title off Honky, where they put the Ultimate Warrior in there because they felt like if Honky was going to try something,
right,
Warrior being a roided up freak of nature would have destroyed Honky.
Oh yeah, he was ready to do that. He was ready to do that if needed be.
Right. I think they would have found a way to do it with Brock and to try to get whatever Brock had from getting the streak off of Brock onto somebody they could market better. I don't believe that Brock Lesnar from the bell said, I'm going to do what I want. And Brock's not that stupid, I don't believe. And Heyman is not that stupid. No. So even if Brock got that stupid, I think Paul would have sat there and said to him, no, buddy, we got to do the right things here. Now,
that's a good point.
Now,
that's a good
do I say that there is 100% no way that they walked into that match and when the bell rang, that Taker wasn't always supposed to win and something changed?
Right.
No. And I will tell you why I can't say that 100%.
Of course, because you talked for 24 minutes about Paul Heyman.
Taker got massively concussed during that match. So I could see where the referee, because again, if people don't know, the referees have constant contact with the back and with the producers in case of injury to make sure they know the time cues, that they can tell the talent when they have to end the match, go home. So I could see a situation where if Taker got concussed and they didn't have the concussion protocols they have now, where the referee could have said, hey, Taker's out of it. There is no way we can do the finish we planned. There is no way we can have the match we planned. What do you want to do? and Vince says, let Brock get an F5 and Brock is going to take the streak. Fuck it, we're going to do an audible.
Now,
do I believe that is definitely what happened? Not so much, no, but I can't say 100% that isn't what happened.
Now, you and I have talked about this. After he loses the streak, the ultimate winner in that was Daniel Bryan, right?
In what sense?
In what sense is that they had to give Daniel Bryan the title for? I mean, you had said yourself that it's possible, not definite, but possible that because the streak ended, they had to give them the happy ending at the end with Daniel Bryan.
I think it reinforced that, but I think Daniel Bryan would have still gotten the title independent of that, because where they miscalculated how over Daniel Bryan was and how much he had an organic following. And they made the same mistake with Kofi Kingston, last year, where this organic thing happened that wasn't supposed to happen.
Victor says,
and Victor's got a good point too.
Yeah, Victor says, as per the Undertaker, he want Brock to take the streak, as on the interview. Yeah, I know. And the only reason why we're bringing this possible controversy up, Victor, is because Paul Heyman, being Paul Heyman, kind of threw it out there to screw with the fans, and he's screwing with us, but it's worth the conversation, I thought. And we're not going to spend the whole show talking about it. It's just, I thought it was pretty cool conversation.
Yeah, because I mean we got something else we cooked up too that was Alan's idea.
Yes.
To do it the way we're gonna do it.
Yeah. Now I want to address my next statement to one Harold Whitehouse, who is flooding us with comments, but I haven't put any of them up because some of them are ridiculous. And so, Harold, if you put up a comment worthy of getting on the show, maybe I'll put it up. But you keep putting up ridiculous comments such as the Eagles suck. We're not talking about the Eagles. We're talking about the Undertaker. Thank you very much. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the Queen.
In fairness, though, you did kind of bring the Eagles into it with your chosen.
Tomorrow's Sunday. NFL Week 1. I'm representing. My cousin Kyle passed away, and they buried him in a Carson Wentz jersey. I'm not making a statement like, "Hey, Eagles!" No, NFL starts tomorrow, and they're my team. That's it.
Okay, and that's fair. And again, we love Kyle. We miss Kyle. I wish he was here doing the show with us tonight.
Yes, we do. I'm gonna put this up here just for a minute. That ticker going across the screen, folks. Val's Pals Go to War event coming up Saturday, October the 3rd, featuring Brian Cage from AEW and Ace Austin from Impact. Bell time is 6 o'clock at the Willis Jones Memorial First Aid Park in Ocean Gate, New Jersey. For information on this event, email standalonewrestling@gmail.com. Tickets start at $20. Portions of the proceeds definitely go to Val and his family.
Worthy cause.
Very worthy cause.
I think it's some great wrestling out of it.
And yeah, and you know what? I had a video sent to me from his mom that we were going to air on this show. I am going to add it to the YouTube version of this episode because I just couldn't get it situated, and it was too much memory. She sent me like a 6 or 7 minute video that I will add to the YouTube upload later on today.
Don't you just hate the internet sometimes?
Oh, they have all these I mean, call it StreamYard, call it Facebook. I don't know who put the kibosh on all that, but here we are.
Don't bite the hands that feed us.
Speaking of Clock Watch, Lady E. Hi, Lady E.
Hello. Thank you.
Lady E is going to have a special game tonight on Clock Watch at 8 o'clock. She's going to have, she's going to have, I believe it's called, maybe she can correct me on this. It's like Drink or Dare or something like that. I don't know.
She had me a drink.
Yeah, she had you a drink. Well, then you should you should go on Clock Watch tonight and play.
I should.
Because
See what happens.
it's tonight at 8:00, special time after us. After us, Clock Watch is gonna. Lady E and the Power P girls are gonna go and play a drinking game. Lady E, if you can text me what that, or comment what that is, I'll put it up. Where is Heel Turn Harry? Heel Turn Harry is watching us live right now, AJ, and commenting all this nonsense. And he's trolling me like a bastard.
As per
is Harold trolling? Yes, TJ. The answer to that question is yes, he is. Truth or Drink. Thank you, E. The girls are playing Truth or Drink tonight, live on Clock Watch at 8:00 tonight. Shots. Harold says, I do no such thing, TJ. Haha. Yes, you do. They are watching it live as you do it. So you have proof of it. So
permanent record.
All right. Yeah. So back to the Undertaker streak. Bottom line is, was there a conspiracy? Yes or no? Yes or no?
I don't think there was.
And I'm going to say yes. You're wrong. Okay.
That's the thing. This is one of those moments, and this is how you know how important something is to wrestling. Is
we're going to talk about that forever.
Exactly, and that you can still get the principles involved. Somebody can go out there and still debate about it.
Yep. All right. So our next topic is the unfortunate incident that occurred where Matt Hardy was wrestling Sammy Guevara, and unfortunately took a spill through a table where he landed the back of his head. And Keith, you have that on your phone right now. I want you to watch that clip. We're not going to show it here because I want the fans watching to see your face when you see that clip. You want to do that?
Yeah, I have that. I've had that queued up. I've only read about it.
He has not watched this yet. Almost the whole world has seen it. Professor Keith has not. So he's watching this right now in front of us.
All right, so I have it queued up. They're up on the forklift. I've got Matt with Sammy's head down. Looks like it's kind of like a half-assed headlock.
Yep.
So I'm going to hit play, and I'm going to see what we can see here. Okay, so I've got referee Aubrey saying cut it out. Somebody, yeah. I'm using a YouTube clip, so somebody wants their, subscribe crap one here.
No. Just call the action. Call the action.
All right, so I've got Matt is pulling him up on the forklift now. He looks like, okay, we got the forklift opened up. Looks like he's going to give Sammy a side effect. Sammy's fighting out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly he needs to hit the tape. Oh, Jesus. He missed that table by a mile. Oh, my God.
And his head hit the floor.
He's done. He's not moving.
No.
He is freaking out.
No.
Jesus, there's not a hint of padding.
So,
okay, this is done.
My son wants to let you know that Matt did continue with the match.
I don't give a fuck what Matt said. Workers are liars.
I'm telling you that he did continue after that.
Okay, and that's why we have concussion protocols, nephew, because workers and athletes are liars. They're taught, don't ever say no, don't ever say you're too hurt to continue, be a warrior, keep going, finish it. No, Matt should have not been allowed to finish it. AEW has had to sit there all week acting like their doctor didn't act like a
Harry says AEW denied he had a concussion while his wife said he did.
Yeah, because looking at that, there's no way he took that spill.
Yes, Alan, yes.
What is their concussion protocol, though?
No. It was irresponsible to let it continue is what I'm saying.
I understand that. But he's trying to also pass it off and say, but Matt just kept going. He did pass the concussion protocol, which I'm going to call bullshit on AEW.
It's not the NFL. They don't have a concussion protocol.
Well, WWE does. And I don't think it's that hard to have a concussion protocol with a competent doctor that knows about CTE, that's read the research, that knows the signs. I'm just going to call bullshit on AEW that they did that here. That they sat there and they had an inexperienced promoter. They had this thing going on pay-per-view. They had been promoting this match as one of the featured matches. And they decided to put that ahead of the town's safety, where they told themselves, because we're going to go straight to the finish, it's going to be fine. I'm just looking at that bump. It should have been done. If this was WWE, it would have been done. You would have been done right there.
Yep.
You would have not continued. Matt should not have continued past that. This is a giant black eye on AEW, and this really makes me question AEW's commitment to the safety of their talent.
Yeah, and
they're doing things like that.
I couldn't agree more. I don't know if they have it. I have to research it to see if there's any concussion protocol.
How do you research it though? Because AEW is a private company. They can just say whatever the hell they want. And what independent research are you going to get from it?
Yes, Harry, it was stupid to do the spot in the first place. He's too old to be doing that kind of stuff.
No,
you're right.
Well, here's where I'm going to say it's stupid. And I'm going to invite everybody to please find a clip of this. I'm going to go over the clip again. Okay, and I'm going to tell you where I'm at in the clip. So
wait. Tom says Tony Khan apparently said the doctor gave him the okay to continue.
Yeah, and I understand that. And the doctor, I'm impugning the doctor. I'm impugning everybody that had anything to do with that situation. I impugn Tony Khan the worst because he's the boss. Mm-hmm. And when you're the boss, you ultimately have the responsibility. Right. I impugn everybody involved with it. Matt was stupid for trying to continue. I think the doctor...
doing it in the first place.
Right. Well, here's the thing, and this is why I want everybody to go back to the clip. So take a minute, if you can, get access to YouTube, and I want you to pull up on your phones, on your TV, on your computer, wherever you can get YouTube and still keep this show going. I want you to get that up, and I want you to get up to the spot. So we have them on the forklift. So now let's just talk about positioning for a second. So we have them on the forklift. It's very obvious that this spot is supposed to end in the spear through the table. Look at the positioning of the table versus the forklift. Yeah. Okay, let's look at positioning. That table is way, way too close.
Right.
Okay. I didn't give a shit about stipulations at that point. Stipulations are bullshit. Let's face it, Harry. Let's be real. Wrestling is bullshit. It's not sports. It's not. Guys have retirement matches.
Don't call it bullshit.
All right. It's a work. I don't mean bullshit in terms of nobody gets hurt. Because hell, why are we having this conversation? Somebody got fucking hurt.
Somebody got hurt.
Badly fucking hurt. I'm not disputing that, nobody ever gets hurt. I'm not that fucking idiot. I never have been. But I lost my train of thought getting angry. But
take a breath. Okay, watch where the table is positioned, you said.
Right. Look at where the table is positioned versus where they are in the forklift. And the mechanics of a spear. Mm-hmm. And this is where I'm going to get at the talents a little bit. And I have to say, Matt's part of the problem. Because Matt's the veteran. Matt should understand the mechanics of what they're trying to do on the spot and say, that table needs to be further out. And if you're going to do something that dangerous, then you know what? You run the risk of telegraphing it.
Yeah.
Because I know people are going to say, but you're worried about telegraphing the spot. I don't care. If it's going to be that dangerous, then you run the telegraphing risk.
Alan, is this Robert? Because Robert comes up as Facebook user all the time. Robert, have Alan show you how to go into the StreamYard and show us who you are.
All right, so we've covered the positioning, and I assume at this point everybody's at least got the clip fired up that's going to fire the clip up.
Maybe.
So maybe, but I think I've ranted long enough, and I lost my place at one point, so I just assume, we're good with that. So let's look at the execution.
Harry told us that the Hello Gentleman was The hello, gentleman, was JT Funk is in the house.
Hi, JT.
JT.
I'd love for you to ring in on this too. Somebody within the business. I mean, tell me if I'm full of crap on this.
It's your favorite indie wrestler. Go back out of the stream, click that little StreamYard link, and type in JT Funk.
I'd love for him to.
I don't even think you have to type that in. It just comes up whatever your Facebook profile is.
I would think so.
Yeah, you know it is. I've done it. You hit the StreamYard, you hit OK. It says boom. Now you can comment.
That does that for me too. Yeah.
Yep.
That's how I come in as me.
Yes. So JT Funk is in the house. JT Funk, I'm sorry you missed the debate on the Undertaker streak, but we are now talking about the Matt Hardy injury recently. It was terrible to watch. I got to tell you. It kind of put a damper on the whole show, didn't it? I mean, the show itself was terrible, but it wasn't their best effort.
No, and there's a lot of stuff that was wrong with it. And I mean, I've heard people say in reviewing of it that this took them completely out of the show and they can never get back with it. And AEW was doing a lot, which also tells me AEW knows they fucked up by having so much Twitter coverage and having the announcers saying, well, Matt continued. Well, we had the concussion protocol. We had this, that, and the other thing. They clearly knew they did the wrong thing, and they were justifying themselves.
He's calling it match of the night. It probably was up to that point.
Was it, though? Because Big Swole can't work.
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
It was a cinematic match with drills and dentist equipment, and the finish was Big Swole knocked Britt Baker out with nitrous oxide. So you tell me with just that description that you need to watch it to know whether or not that was match of the night on a wrestling show.
I think that was a troll thing. Truth or nail match was match of the night. That's something Alan would say. Thanks, Harry, for that.
Yeah, he's a heel. So, okay, so we've filibustered a lot. So now I want to get into the execution of the move. So we have Matt is standing on the edge of the forklift where I am, and Sammy is getting ready to do the spear. So I just want to see if Sammy Guevara has any misstep in what he did, because right now my first inclination when I watch it early on is to say bad table positioning. If the table positioning is better, we don't have this problem necessarily. It's still a dumbass spot because that forklift is maybe, and again, I'm not a forklift expert, but I mean, I work with power equipment in my job. I would say that forklift is probably about 1/4 or so off the ground. You got to give it a couple pumps of the lever to do that. So that's stupid right there. But that again goes back to that table needs to be precision position. So let me just see how hard Sammy goes into him, if that has anything to do with anything.
Alan says the event was bad luck. Matt's injury, Seidel's botch. I mean, Jericho almost tripped and fell into a pool of mimosa, and that would have ended the match. Bad luck all night.
I can't put it all down to bad luck because I'm watching this, and again, I've just gone through where Sammy hits the spear. Sammy did nothing wrong. If he, within the context of what's going on, and even with that, I would say Sammy did nothing wrong because if people are going to try to say something on him, he's 24 years old.
24, yep.
This is his first major gig in wrestling. The WWE guy that's been in WWE forever, since 97, 98, tells you he wants to do this. Matt is in control of that match.
Yeah.
Pure and simple. Matt and the people in charge of AEW are in control of that match.
Yeah, he was probably like, yeah, let's do it. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, Sammy is doing what he's told. And I look at Sammy's spear, and there's nothing wrong with the velocity he comes at Matt with.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with the way he hits. It's picture perfect in terms of the execution.
Yeah.
It's a dumbass spot from the concept, and it's dumbass because the table is not where it needs to be. And somebody should have found a way to put some kind of crash pad or something in there. This is for everybody that bitches about WWE with crash pads. But you know what? I'd rather the crash pad and see the strings and somebody not get fucking hurt
Yes.
versus, oh, we can't see how the puppet act is done, and
AJ's gonna
somebody
troll.
gets hurt.
AJ's gonna troll my kid. Let me tell you, I have a theory, okay, AJ, with that WCW thing. Listen, I agree with you 100%, and Keith probably agrees with you probably 75 or 80, right? But AEW does these crazy, weird matches because it appeals to Alan's generation. The Mimosa match, I can see people like my son loving that shit, which I thought was the stupidest thing I ever heard of in my life.
Because part of the problem is they don't think wrestling should be taken seriously. They see it as, well, it's all work. Everybody knows that it's out there. Yeah, that it's that kayfabe is dead. It's all work. Nobody believes in this, so you can do whatever the hell you want.
Exactly. And they're trying to appeal. They're trying to appeal to the freaking marks. And
there's this audience that wants to watch the parody of what professional wrestling is supposed to be.
Hey Harry, I got something for you here. I've been saving this for the next time he puts up a stupid comment. You ready? You ready? Wait for it, Keith. You're gonna love this one.
Am I?
All right, keep talking. I'm gonna leave that up for a minute. But go ahead. Keep talking.
I mean, it's parody of wrestling. It's no storytelling. It's a lot of guys that are just taking the wrong lessons from stuff that has worked and not understanding how things work. They sit there. I'm going to give you a perfect example. When Shawn Michaels kicked out of the Undertaker's tombstone at WrestleMania 25, and everybody's going, holy shit.
Right.
Why are they going, holy shit?
Because that was the first time that happened.
Well, it's not the first time it happened, but it happened so rarely.
Yeah.
And you had, at that point, 23, if I have my math right, 23 years of The Undertaker putting just about everybody to bed with that move, except for maybe like Kane at WrestleMania 14.
It was 23 years at that point because he started in WWE right around WrestleMania 7.
Right. And he missed a couple manias here and there. But
he did, but we're talking like, in 90. So 15 years.
Okay, but that's my point. A long-ass time where it's established. You hit this move, your opponent is done. So when you have that much time and that much storytelling built into, okay, that move's a killer, and this guy got out of it, holy crap.
Right.
Versus a lot of what I see AEW folks do and some of the other folks do, which I know our friend JT, I think he had a great word for it last week when he came and he called it super indie.
Yeah, super indie.
They're doing finishers.
You hear
and
that?
Guys are kicking out of these finishes all the time. So, and I think we covered it last week too, where I'm saying it either means you can't do that finisher correctly.
Right.
If I'm taking it logically, you suck at throwing that finisher that other guys can do it as a kill shot, or people throw up their hands and go, God damn, nobody involved in this knows what the hell they're doing.
So Alan has
a really way. I think it becomes you don't believe in the person doing it, and what does your hand do? What's the sign I'm making?
Yes.
You click it off. You click off the dial and you say, enough. I'm done with this.
Alan has a really long comment, so it's going to cover most of our screen. So let me put it up here, and I'm going to read it, all right?
All right.
There's room for serious stories, but nobody can pull them off anymore. NXT is the only brand, in my opinion, that can put out convincing and intriguing stories. WWE bores me to death, and AEW does so many interesting and unique matches and angles that it piques my interest entirely. You are making my point, Alan. You are making my point because they put out this crazy stuff because they know that you now know that, you know, what's behind the curtain. So they try to put this, hey, what's this they're doing now? You know what I mean? That's why you love these cinematic matches. That's why you love Bray Wyatt's crazy, you know, world that he's created, because they have to do these things to entertain your generation.
I don't think they do. I disagree with that.
No, that's my opinion. I'm saying you're right. They don't have to, but that's what they're doing. And in my opinion, the fans who complain constantly and say the 80s and 90s should come back and the Attitude Era should come back, those were golden times and they were great. But that era is done. Wrestling needs to evolve. The same formula won't work forever.
And he's right about the same formula won't work forever.
Okay.
Especially because right now, because let's take it decade by decade, because the 2 decades are different, in my opinion.
Right.
And you stop me when you think I'm wrong, Alan. The 80s were as good as they were because the territories still existed. Mm-hmm. Vince goes national in 85. What does he do? He takes the best talents that he can get his hands on from the territories, and he builds his company around that. I mean, he's picking off. Here's the thing. Some people may know it. They may not know it. Vince signs JYD, who is the main event, and I mean the main event in Mid-South Wrestling. Vince signs him. He blows off all his bookings. Bill Watts goes, holy shit, I've invested all this time into this guy. He's selling out the Superdome. The Superdome in Louisiana. You all know, if you're football fans, if you're any kind of understanding, he is selling that building out. That is a major arena that WWE ran for WrestleMania and sold it out. JYD sold it out. He goes to WWE. What is it, like the opening match for Mania? The opening match for a few Manias? They didn't use him like that at all. Vince had so much talent to choose from that he could take a guy that sold out the Superdome in Louisiana and use him as a know-nothing job guy. So that's part of the 80s. Can you do that now? You absolutely cannot, because they're not territories anymore. No offense to any of the indie folks out there. I love you. Now, I'm not trying to offend anybody, and I know we've got some folks watching this show, but I mean, you guys will admit in your hearts of hearts, you don't have the platform that the territories did to become that over.
If you want a cinematic match, AJ says, buy a shit indie movie.
Not all indie movies are shit, but I mean, I take his point, you know.
Yeah, the goofy stuff makes me laugh and keeps my eyes glued. Why do we watch movies or sports or TV shows? It's entertainment. And I don't care what the wrestlers and performers do, but as long as it's entertaining, I will watch.
And I understand that. I understand the idea of entertainment is in the eye of the beholder. But here's what I come back to. Wrestling is demonstrably not doing the audience that it used to do. AEW can only get 1 million viewers on a show if they are running unopposed. And they're only getting 1 million viewers. Wrestling used to be able to, in the days of the territories in the 80s, used to be able to sell out an arena every night.
Yeah.
Used to get ratings of like 10s. And yes, that was before cable was as big as it is now. Okay, I get that. Mm-hmm. In the 90s, a 5 or a 6 was almost a fait accompli. Right. We were used to it. We expected that to be the ratings of the show, and now 1 million.
Don't get him started on Brawl for All, AJ, please.
Concept. So, I mean, this is my point, and this is why I get mad about the word evolve. Mm-hmm. Everybody uses this as an excuse. Wrestling needs to evolve. How is it an evolution?
What's up, Cornell?
What's up, Cornell? How is it an evolution when you can look at any demonstrable number? You can look at ticket sales. You can look at live events. You can look at television ratings. You can look at pay-per-view buy rates, and they're all going down. All going down. Where's the evolution in that? Where evolution means moving forward. We evolved. We evolved to become the dominant species on the food chain. So if you use the word evolution for wrestling in the same way you would use it in terms of human evolution, then by that logic, wrestling at this point is actually becoming where we're becoming more like monkeys again, and something should be eating us in the dead of night and killing us off, because this is not evolution. I agree. The style of wrestling
is called COVID-19.
That could be. Yeah, it's actually not a bad point. That's probably a different show,
Yeah.
like you said earlier. But I mean, I just can't agree that when every metric for this shit, and even before COVID-19, the metrics were against it and were against what's happening. How you can call this the wrestling business evolving? I mean, if 5 years from now AEW is banging out the same kind of ratings that they did during the Attitude Era, if NXT is doing it, and I got to disagree. I don't think NXT is pulling off the compelling storylines and everything else like they
time
used
out,
to.
time out. Montana, you know that's a lie. Montana is a Giants fan, so you know. I'm not wearing it to troll anybody or piss off Eagle haters out there. I'm wearing it because tomorrow's the NFL. And if all y'all are NFL fans, don't tell me for one single second after watching what I saw on Thursday, you didn't get pumped. Like, I was worried. 10,000, 15,000 fans, pumped in crowd noise. Is it going to be the same? Yo, the Chiefs and the Texans brought it, baby. The Chiefs and the Texans brought it. I saw Patrick Mahomes running around throwing touchdowns like he did last year, baby. I'm ready. Eagles. Yeah. She's laughing now. I know. Well, Montana. I hope you enjoy the Giants game, sweetheart.
Yeah. I mean, my thing, just to sum that part of the conversation up, is you can't tell me it's evolving when everything is telling me that it's going backwards unless people give a crap
right
than they used to.
Hell yeah to football. Yeah. Yo, man, you want to throw some football at us, man? At the end of the, we're almost done with the show. You want to throw some football at us? Throw some football at us. We talked the Undertaker's controversy. We talked Matt Hardy's injury. We talked Matt Hardy's injury. We talked the evolution of wrestling. Where's it going? Where's it going to be in 5 years? We're scared. Okay,
people like in business in 5 years.
People, right? People like my son
on the trajectory it's going now. It's not going to happen.
People like my son think that this all these bells and whistles and these mimosa matches are awesome. It might be the death of what we used to love. So that's why we're talking about it.
I mean, I'm not ready to go that far yet because
I'm there.
I mean, Vince McMahon is going to go away. And I think that's gonna.
I think you meant Cornell there. Let's do it, Cornell. Okay. Because she said Colonel, but okay.
Yeah, I mean that's
Cornell the Colonel, same difference.
That's gonna change things, but I think what also is becoming very clear is that as the expertise.
Good point, AJ.
Yeah, we didn't do that, did we?
We never said who we thought should end the streak. In my opinion, it should have been Roman Reigns. That's my opinion. Only because it had, if they were going to make Roman the guy and they didn't know that Brock was going to, Brock was just going to be an attraction where you see him, 2 or 3 times a year. And they already knew that if you're going to push Roman to be the next, top guy and the face of the franchise, then you give Roman the streak. And Roman beat him anyway. So the streak should have survived to Roman. What do you think, Keith?
I would say if you were going to give it to anybody at that point in time, it should have been Roman. And I think the fact that Roman got over him there was because at the time, and Taker said it on the Last Ride documentary, he planned that to be the last.
Yeah, Victor. I couldn't say injury. I pulled a Black Earth when he says acquisitions. What he's supposed to say acquisitions. There's a Q in there, and he says acquisitions with a K. I said injury, but I didn't say it right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, I think it should have been Roman, or it should have been nobody. You should have just said, you know what, we're just going to.
I like this question. I like this question. If you could change it, what storyline would you push to bring ratings back?
I don't think there's any magic bullet. There is no magic bullet that's going to bring the ratings back. I think what Paul Heyman was stated that he was going to do with Raw is he was going to basically say, because there's a concept from back in the day, and I'm gonna apologize if I
Harry
get
says
some
Bray
of the.
Wyatt should have ended the streak, I think.
No, I think it should have been Roman. Harry's got a Bray bias. I love Bray. I do.
I love Bray too.
But Harry's a
They just got
mark.
rid of Mike Rotunda, right?
For Bray. Harry is a mark for Bray, sometimes in the worst sense of mark.
Bray can be that next Mystique kind of character for the next 10 years. If they
in theory, but I think the Mr. Rogers shit hurts it. I think the Mr. Rogers.
That's another podcast. That's another podcast.
Yeah, I think the Mr. Rogers thing hurts it.
I want to show this. I know you guys can't see this. It's a sympathy card that I got signed by the lovely ladies who are watching right now from Turkey Hill number 308 in Birdsboro, PA. Thank you, ladies. It melted my heart. I actually shed a tear in my hearse truck today. Thank you for this sympathy card for the loss of my cousin Kyle and our colleague. He will be missed. I want to repeat one more time. Down below, you see a ticker along the bottom of your screen for an upcoming event for Val's Pals Go to War. Val's a young man with cerebral palsy. His mother sent me a video, which I will put on our page and I will put on our YouTube channel. They are doing a fundraising event on Saturday, October 3rd, bell time 6 o'clock. For information, email standalonewrestling@gmail.com. For tickets start at $20, but most of the proceeds go to Val and Val's family. That event is featuring Brian Cage from the AEW and Ace Austin from Impact at the Willis Jones Memorial First Aid Park in Ocean Gate, New Jersey. So for information, email standalonewrestling@gmail.com and get your tickets because they will go fast. All right. Need a Hellraiser. Like AJ says, to that point, to Cornell's point about what should we do to put, there's no magic bullet thing.
No, there isn't.
AJ says you need a Hellraiser. Do they where are you going to get, you can't rebirth Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Who is over? Who is truly over enough to do something like that? Who truly has the experience?
The top face in the company is the Fiend. Right now.
Which I think is a risk too, because that's just not.
No, Michelle, no. This is not just about football. We were talking wrestling and it turned to football because I have this jersey on, and I apologize. We'll stop talking about football because it really pisses people off.
People come here for wrestling.
So sorry for your. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Kyle's will always be with us on all our future podcasts at Around the Turnbuckle. He was going to be a regular Saturday night contributor every Saturday night. And your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for commenting. We were talking about the Undertaker's streak. We were talking about Matt Hardy's terrible fall through tables. And then we started talking about the future of wrestling just because we were going to have a guest tonight. And our guest had family emergencies, so we just were kind of freelancing it tonight. And we were letting the fans kind of guide us here. It's been fun. They've been, or a group. Factions usually work, but what are you going to do? Are you going to bring the Undisputed Era to the main roster? I don't have an easy answer to that question.
I don't think there is an easy answer, and that's my point, is that they have done so much to get people under. And this used to be a concept that people understood back in the day.
Harry said Adam Cole.
No one is. He could, but you got to make him the guy.
Yeah.
And I look at some of the recent NXT stuff, and frankly, it's horrible booking to me.
I got an idea. It just hit me like a lightning bolt. Adam, leave the title on Roman Reigns till the Rumble. Adam Cole wins the Rumble. Adam Cole versus Roman Reigns at Mania.
Is he winning the title cold from NXT? or is he going to get on Raw or SmackDown? Well, he'd have to be SmackDown.
You have
right?
you have 9 months to build that up.
You do, but I'm saying, what are the parameters that we're working with? Is Adam Cole going to be on NXT for those 9 months?
No.
And we're going to just shoot him from NXT to the Rumble to the title picture?
No.
Because that's stupid. That won't work.
That won't work. That's why I'm saying bring him now.
Watch NXT for that to matter.
I say he's on main roster by Survivor Series.
So you're going to put him SmackDown by Survivor Series. You're going to give him a couple of huge wins. Make him and this is my point. That's what you have to do. You have to do build. Yeah. This is why fantasy booking pisses me off, because so many people will just go, well, everybody knows that, guy A is the man. I'm like, how many people watch the show he's on? What does that matter? I know he's the greatest thing ever, and we just give him a shot on, and night one he comes in and he, wins the title and he beats everybody and he sodomizes, the owner of the company. And then, no, that's not how people get over.
Why does somebody have to get sodomized in your scenario?
I'm trying to point out how ridiculous these people are. That it's like they have to win the moon on the first night. They act like they're a shortcut.
Roddy Piper, baby. Bring him back. That's what we need. Roddy Piper, man. Or somebody like him, because Ronda Rousey wearing a damn jacket is not Roddy Piper. Sorry.
No.
Does his son want to wrestle?
I think he's getting into it. He's just starting to. I think Colton is. Yeah.
Colton. I'd get behind if Colton Piper came out.
Okay, but this again is assuming that talent is genetic. That it's just you're automatically gonna be great because your dad was great.
Need I bring up the queen? Need I bring up the queen?
Okay, you bring her up, and I'm gonna talk about her brother David.
Woo!
I'm gonna talk about Richie Steamboat.
Not everybody.
I mean,
everybody. I'm saying it's possible.
I'm talking about Alpha Jr. Talent, you're not going to be the greatest thing in the world just because your dad or your mom or whoever was the greatest thing in the world.
Well, The Rock was better than his dad and his grandfather.
Absolutely. He was bigger. Absolutely. Rock translated to Hollywood.
I'm with you, Michelle. Colton Piper. That's the thing. These guys, all these old school wrestlers now have kids that are starting to get older and starting, well, Charlotte's a star right now, but I want to see if like Randy Orton's kids or the kids of Edge and Beth Phoenix. Can you imagine if one of those girls from Edge and Beth Phoenix end up being a wrestler 10 years from now or whatever?
I mean, in theory, they'll be great.
Do you remember when Hulk Hogan, when they made him Hulk bad? Would that work in this era? Yeah, well, I mean, depending on who we're talking about, because you're talking about Hulk Hogan when he went to NWO, and that worked back then because Hulk Hogan had been saying his prayers and eating his vitamins in WWE, and then he goes to WCW and
he fails as a baby face.
Correct.
Those fans wanted to boo him. That is part of it, and everybody forgets that. Also, show me a guy that's Hulk Hogan over. Show me a guy that's Steve Austin over. No. Again, this is my point. You cannot, and this I'm going to use.
Yeah, I like Dominic. I like Dominic.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about Roddy Piper, right? Because Roddy Piper has a perfect example for me with this. Roddy Piper hits Jimmy Snuka with the coconut. We're still talking about it today. Everybody that's an idiot that doesn't know how the wrestling business or really writing in general works thinks, well, all I got to do is recreate that. I just got to recreate a Roddy Piper. I got to recreate a Jimmy Snuka, and I got to get a coconut, and we're off to the races. No, that works because of everything that Roddy Piper was at that moment in terms of build. It works because of everything Jimmy Snuka was in that moment for that build. And then you get the catalyst with the coconut.
Yep.
Nobody is built to that degree anymore. Almost everything is hot-shotted, which means you skip the build and you just go to the holy shit pop of it. Keith Lee is going to wrestle Drew McIntyre on Monday. Keith Lee's had what, 2 months on Raw,
On Raw,
and he's coming off a really bad title match on NXT where he lost the title.
Mhm.
That's not entirely his fault. I mean, Karrion Kross got hurt, but even then, it was a spectacular title match. There's like less than 1 million people that watch NXT every week. We know not everybody that subscribes to a network is watching NXT or watching the pay-per-views.
Michelle is friends with Alpha, that is with standing family related to The Rock. Yeah, we know I believe that's pronounced Anoy, right? Anoy family.
I always
say it wrong. And Alpha's son, I believe Samu, is running WXW in Allentown nowadays. Yeah. And some of our friends from CCW are friends with him. So we know all about that family, Michelle. Yeah.
We have a mutual friend that used to work for the Wild Samoans.
Yeah. And he's having a hard time getting back to the WWE. It's a shame. It is a shame. WWE right now is kind of in a state of flux. Am I right, Keith? I mean, they keep cutting people. With the pandemic, they can't really add people right now. Can they?
Where the cuts happened the last time was, and by the last time I mean yesterday, was in the live events.
Keith Lee just beat Orton clean, Harry.
Oh, because he got 1 win. He's over now. This is the problem. This is what I'm talking about. You think that 1 win or 1 magic
you just
moment.
Knocked your phone off.
I know I did. That's how angry this crap gets me. Because Harry just illustrated exactly what I'm talking about. You think that he just hit him with the coconut and he's off to the races because he hit him with the coconut. You're taking the wrong message from the situation. You are Vince Russoing right now.
Where's my popcorn when I need it?
Because, again, it's not 1 moment. Yes. Keith Lee beating Randy Orton is huge. Huge. It's a big ass thing. I'm not denying that it isn't.
Michelle, I love you. Shall we name a few? The head shrinker, Samu and Fatu, aka Rikishi.
Yep.
Roman Reigns, the Usos, The Rock, Umaga, Yokozuna. Just to name a few.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so many god kids.
The Samoans
there and whatnot.
The Samoans have been the gift that keeps on giving. That family in general too.
And that's why they're so figured into the WWE lineage. People wonder why are they so hard on pushing the Samoans? But part of it too is the toughness. Alpha and Sika got broken into the business because High Chief Peter Maivia worked an event. And the fans rioted.
Victor, tell him why. Tell him why you need Fireball for this show. I had my share of Fireball last night trying to get over my cousin dying. Tell me why you need Fireball for this show. And be honest. I love you, Victor. Victor, you're coming on this show soon, yeah? That's correct.
But again,
we did mention Roman, Michelle.
Yes, Roman is Sika's son.
Yep,
he is Sika, the Wild Samoan son.
They're all cousins, really. I mean, they're all related. The Rock and him are cousins. So, and the Usos. I mean, Uso in Samoan, I believe, means cousin. Is that right, Keith? They call each other Us.
Yeah, I
do. I mean, that's like me. No, like me and my friend, me and my cousins, we always say "cuz." Hey, what's up, cuz? Yesterday was "Hey, cuz." Hey, cuz.
It could be. I'm just not going on the record.
They call They call each other Us. That's where the Usos. The word Uso in Samoan, I believe, means cousin, and that's why they're called the Usos because they're the cousins. You know what I mean? They're twins. They're not cousins. I'm saying they're the cousins of Roman and everybody else.
I'm just taking your word for it because I'm done.
Michelle agrees with me.
Okay. But my point is that's a huge starting point for Keith Lee.
Okay.
Give me like
Send me a direct message, Victor. We'll have a conversation, and you can tell me why you have to drink Fireball. And if it's because of the professor, you're not the only one.
I am a delight and a national treasure. I'm just saying that now. So, like you just talked about Adam Cole for the Royal Rumble, right?
I did.
Now, what about Keith Lee for
Winning
the Royal Rumble? He's beaten Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
You give him a few more high quality wins. You let him work his way up.
So that the Randy Orton thing wasn't all for naught.
No, I'm not saying it's for nothing.
No,
But
I
I'm
meant.
saying the idea of
No,
he
keep
beats
going. I'm
Randy
saying
Orton,
so that
he gets a title match.
let's not waste that clean win. They're gonna waste.
Right.
You and I think that they're gonna waste that clean win.
Most likely because they have
Like
the
by
attention
Survivor
span of
Series, he's going to
TV.
be mid card or maybe the Intercontinental Champion.
And isn't that a shame too? Because being the Intercontinental Champion used to mean that you were like the #1 contender for the world title in theory. Now it just means you're the guy that has to carry around an extra 20 pounds in your bag.
Right.
That you probably don't want because it doesn't
No.
really do anything for you. Which is a shame. But I'm saying, you take what Keith Lee did, you give him a few more quality wins, and you elevate that over time. Now you get to like January. He's a guy that could win the Royal Rumble. The fans believe that coming in, and you throw some obstacles in his way. You make it harder for him to do that. He wins. He goes to Mania. He wrestles Drew or whoever the champion is.
Okay. He's saying that Uso means brother. Only a male can call another one Uso, and only a woman can call Uso to another woman. That's interesting.
Okay,
that's not that's we learned something, Keith. That's Samoan culture right there.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't going to go on the record as
well,
saying
no, I didn't go on the record. I just know they were each calling each other Us, like as in UCE.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn is the real IC champ. Well, we're not talking about Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn is
Michelle. I don't know how you feel about women wrestling, but his sisters and cousins are badass as well. Listen, we love and respect women's wrestling. Are you talking about Nia Jax?
Women's wrestling.
If she's talking about Nia Jax, because that's the current relative that's involved here. No.
Nia was called up too early. I'll say that all day. Vince fell in love with her size and fell in love with her bloodlines.
Yeah.
And I think she is one of the NXT people that was brought up way too early. I've said it about Apollo Crews. I've said it about a few people. Yeah. How are you going to have a developmental league if you won't let people develop?
Correct. All right, so we're going to wrap this up, Keith. I want to say, and I hope she's watching, Rebecca Payne, I hope that everything goes well tonight. We're sorry we missed you. We will have you in October. Also, I want to also make an announcement here on this show right now that moving forward, not including the people I already have booked, which I have to say that one more time. If you're a superstar that is booked on this show, your date, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, stands. But moving forward, in the next couple of weeks, we have guests lined up. Once those guests are done, we are only going to do guests on Sunday show. On Saturdays, we're going to do a show similar to this. If anybody, we miss Rebecca too, Victor. She's going to be on. If you guys tuned in to watch Rebecca Payne, she will be on another date soon, and she promised.
Yeah, this is not a bait and switch.
Yeah, it's not a bait and switch. She had family emergency to take care of, and she will be on. She promises me that. Moving forward, our Saturday show is going to be something like this. We're going to pick a couple topics and we're going to talk about it. If you want to be a panelist side by side live right here and debate with us, we would love to have you as a debate panelist. This is excluding if you're a wrestler. If you're a wrestler, I want to book you on Sunday so we can talk about your career. But on Saturdays, I want to get people involved. I want you guys to come on as a guest panelist and Allen's chiming in. He'll be on a Saturday when he's off work. We know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I want you guys. It'd be a lot of fun. We'll talk like once you're committed and once I have you booked as a Saturday special panelist, I want you guys to, talk to me privately leading up to the show, and I will promote that you're going to be on the show. I will also take considerations of a topic you want to bring up. Like, is there something that you know about more so than me or the professor? We'll talk about it. You want to talk about the Ultimate Warrior? We'll talk about the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, whatever you want to talk about, bring it to our attention. We'll consider anything. We really love doing this. We love talking wrestling. We could talk it all night long. We usually try to keep it under an hour. We're at a minute. We're at an hour and 20. Heel Turn Harry says Heel Turn Harry's music hits. I didn't know he had music.
I didn't authorize that.
I think is it YMCA?
Might be.
Yeah, probably. Cornell says sex. Sex is not off the table, Cornell, but you message me later. With that in mind, oh, wait a minute. JT Funk is in the house. Of course he shows up when I'm wrapping the show up. Thoughts on the current state of wrestling in comparison to the past? If you go back and watch it, sir, we just spent a half hour talking about that very subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, go back and watch. Michelle, I love you too. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for commenting. Come back and see us. We are on Saturday nights at 6:00, and we are on Sunday nights at 6:00. We have guests booked up for the next 3 weeks, and I believe the weekend of October 11th is the first weekend, Keith, that we don't have a guest where we can, but they are getting booked up. Cornell, thank you. Tune in tonight, Truth or Drink with Lady E and the girls. Tonight at 8:00, they're going to have a Truth or Drink in exactly 40 minutes. I know. I wore it for you. JT Funk says, I smiled so hard at the Philly jersey. I'm only wearing it, not to troll anybody, but tomorrow's the NFL, baby. Week 1. Go Birds! And thank you for sharing, Michelle. Rebecca Payne will be on at another time. And Keith, you got any parting gifts?
Thanks to everybody.
Payne is here.
Nice. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you for commenting, and go into the Facebook group too. If you guys have topics or ideas for topics for the show on a Saturday or something, if you don't feel comfortable coming in and being a panelist, just share something ahead of time.
Yeah, man.
What you would want us to talk about.
Go onto the Around the Turnbuckle Facebook page and give us some ideas for topics for future shows. Because, like I said, I only want guests on once a week so that we can have shows like this, because we had a lot more fan interaction. I prefer more fan interaction. So we're going to do that, where one of our shows is strictly about the guests, where we talk about their career, and then the other show is based on whatever you guys want to talk about. We're not ones to just sit and talk about current product and what happened on SmackDown this Friday, what happened on Raw this Friday.
I'm actually going to say, for the love of God, please don't make the topics about current wrestling. Unless you really love the idea of me just raising my blood pressure and getting angry for an hour.
My point to bringing that up is there are other podcasts if they want to know what's happened on Raw, or they could just go on WWE.com.
My thing is just, I'll probably be unrelentingly negative for an hour. So that's not your cup of tea.
You unrelenting negative? I don't think so. Okay, so one last time. Saturday, October the 3rd, Val's Pals Go to War, featuring Brian Cage from AEW and Ace Austin from Impact at the Willis Jones Memorial First Aid Park in Ocean Gate, New Jersey. For information, email you see right below me, standalonewrestling@gmail.com. Tickets start at $20, and a majority of the proceeds go to Val and his family. I hope you guys had fun tonight. I had fun tonight. Stay tuned for Lady E and the girls. Should be interesting. Also, our other shows on Clockwatch. Sunday at night at 9. Monday night, Power P at 9. Tuesday night at 9, Clockwatch. And Wednesday at noon, Spittin' with Spitter with our boy, TJ Spitter. With that, I am going to say, Mr. Keith, that for the fact that we lost our guest for a good cause, for a good reason,
Yeah.
I thought that this wasn't all that bad.
No, I think we made it work. I think the audience was happy with it.
And folks, I'm going to put this up one last time. That's my Sunday Night Football prediction. I have been the Big Albowski. My cohort is Professor Keith, and we will see you next time on Around the Turnbuckle tomorrow night when our guest, Keith, tomorrow night at 9 or tomorrow night at 6, our guest from the Triple WA, JCM. You don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss that. My man is ready. My man is ready. And with that, we shut it down.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you gonna do, brother? Oh yeah! Woo! What? What? If you smell what the rock.
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
Bye, everybody.